So the Game Awards this year were interesting. It's a great time to come together and discuss some great games, and also it's a great time to show some upcoming titles as well. And this year, while having quite a lot to offer, the one reason I was even watching the Game Awards was the hope to see literally anything about one game in particular, and to my surprise, I got a lot more than I expected. Back 4 Blood is a game I've discussed in the past before, and if you're aware, I'm very interested in it. We didn't really know much about it when it was announced, and all we really knew was who made it, who's publishing it, and the engine they were using for it. And that was kind of it. But that didn't stop me from getting excited about it. Having the original developers return to their roots and make a spiritual successor to one of my all-time favourite games is a no-brainer. I've kept my eye on it ever since, and outside of a few motion capture videos, they were incredibly quiet about everything. Well, there was that one time a little while ago which I accidentally got in trouble for when someone sent me a leak during a Left 4 Dead stream. Yeah, their reaction to that was pretty valid. Well, regardless of that, during the Game Awards we finally got a trailer, and in first impressions, the concept looked promising. We got an introduction to a few of the characters we'd be playing, the lore of the world, and also the type of infected we should expect to see in game. And overall, it looked great. But it wasn't gameplay footage, it was a CGI trailer. And if you know me and my history with Dead Island, I know not to believe this stuff. Basically, I liked what I saw, but it wasn't enough. And then we got gameplay. And then a release date. And then right at the end they announced a closed alpha that was happening on the 17th of December, and to cut a long story short, within the next few hours I got an alpha key and I went into a full meltdown on Twitter. It's crazy to think that this game was announced last year in March, and to hear it coming out in June next year is amazing, not only because the wait is already almost over, but they did an impressive job of keeping everything hidden. And it really paid off since Back 4 Blood looks very good. From the gameplay and trailers shown off so far, we have a good idea on what to expect from this game. And while I don't want to go into the detail just yet since I'd like to play it first, there's a couple of things I wanted to point out now. First off, and this should be kind of obvious, the gameplay in this demo was obviously scripted. This isn't an uncommon thing, but I noticed some people point out the gameplay felt stiff in the gameplay trailer, but I imagine in-game, especially on PC, this will feel a lot better. Focusing more on the gameplay, however, I noticed how the approach to the common infected, or as they're called in this game, the Ridden, seems to take a slightly slower approach to the survivors when compared to Left 4 Dead. The Special Ridden, however, seem to have familiar traits to Left 4 Dead while obviously having some new designs. But the ones that caught my attention the most were the Ogre, which, that's because it's fucking ginormous, and also an enemy called, and to note, I'm not making this up, the Tall Boy, seems to be able to dash about and possibly dodge attacks while also having a mallet on his arm. Honestly, the designs look cool. There's also little things I noticed in a couple of the other trailers, like attachments being placed around the map for you to pick up and put on your weapons, and the world seems to have a few more destructible elements to it within the map. But the biggest feature I'm curious about in this game is the card system. It's basically a passive mutator system that both the game director and the players have control over. Each run of a campaign, the game director will then choose some modifiers, and then you get the choice to choose on what you think would be best to counter it. As for what these cards entail exactly, I have no idea, but I would love to see some stuff like weather effects, like a fog or a blizzard to make the map harder to look through. Now, not everything looks perfect. I've already picked up on a couple of concerns that hopefully playing the alpha will give me a better understanding for, but mainly is stuff like, will we keep the same 5-level structure for a campaign, or more preferably, would we have a massive world with several checkpoints in the middle as safe houses so we don't have to constantly load? Secondly, going from the tweet they released earlier today, at launch we'll have a total of 8 characters to choose from, each with their own specific perk and side weapon, which is pretty cool. Characters having a specific trait to them helps make them more unique, which is a good thing, but I really hope Back 4 Blood avoids the issue of having the same character multiple times in a campaign. Overkill's The Walking Dead had this because they were class specific, and honestly, it looked rather silly and completely broke the balance. Finally, and I guess we won't know this till much later, how much is this game going to offer at launch? I only mention this because Earthfall had this exact problem. It had 2 campaigns with 5 chapters each, and that was it. I really don't want Back 4 Blood to have the same fate. If you're curious about getting into the alpha, there's 2 ways you can do it. Firstly, and the most convenient way would be to sign up on the website since they'll hand out keys at random, or you can jump onto the Discord server and hope they do another giveaway. As for when the alpha goes live, well, the servers will go online at about 11 AM PST, which is 7 PM here in the UK, and I mention this since I'll be streaming my first impressions over on Twitch, so if you want to hear my excitement or just want to watch some gameplay, why not give me a follow? And don't worry, this isn't the last thing you'll hear from me talking about Back 4 Blood. This is just the beginning.